Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to Technical Communication for the summer 2013. Today I sent everyone a red sample booklet of assignments in the US mail, and you should probably get that by the weekend. It doesn't include every assignment from this class, but it includes a great number of them. And I know that I make them available online as well and send you good examples. However, I like to send you this red booklet. And even when you're done with this class, you might want to keep it and refer to it because there's a number of good letters, memos, there's a consumer report, there's written instructions, the summary assignment, uh, best and worst written instructions, and so it covers a variety of documents. There's a few in there that we don't do in this class online. I do those in class, like in class. I have students do some drawings, like some technical drawings, but for the online class, I don't have you do that. And even in class, I have students do oral instructions, which we're unable to do in these online classes. The big difference, though, for the online class that we do more of is the discussion board, and we use that extensively. I did want to mention with the discussion board, don't ever think if I comment negatively on something that you wrote, don't think, oh, wow, this is bad, and why is he being so harsh? I'm just trying to give you my honest, fair assessment. Whether you agree or disagree with it, I can't control that, but it also helps other students to understand what I'm looking for. So, like when we do the consumer report or written instructions, I have you do a proposal. And if you write a proposal for the consumer report and say, I'm going to look for a digital camera, one that costs less than $300. I'm not sure of the brands that I'm looking at yet. I'm not sure of the features. If you write something like that, I'm going to tell you pick three cameras, three brands of cameras. Pick three types of cameras, like a point and shoot or a compact camera or one of those underwater cameras, that if you drop it, it doesn't harm it. So, I like to be specific about what I want, and in that way, it can help you to understand what I'm looking for. But there again, it helps other students to understand what the desired effect is. I've taught online here at WCCC now for more than 10 years, and I really enjoy it because it allows me to develop content that I use for my in-class courses as well. So I always use Blackboard, and I did mention in the information that I sent out to the class from 2007 to 2010, I went to Chatham University in Pittsburgh, but I actually was only on the campus one time. I pursued an online degree in professional writing, their graduate degree, and it was helpful because it helped me improve my skills. I didn't have to drive back and forth to Pittsburgh 2 nights a week, and I also got a raise, and so there were lots of benefits. But I'm much more familiar now with social media, with Facebook and Twitter, Pinterest, and Tumblr, and I had to create a blog and a wiki and a bunch of different things. I know Google Docs. So it was beneficial for me. So I believe every college student should take at least one online course during their career in college. I think some courses are better suited online, such as this class is ideally suited. There's others, sociology, psychology, and some others that are really great. I'm actually going to take a psychology course, human growth and development, this summer online. And I've taken a number of computer classes online, and I find it to be very useful. It fits in with my busy schedule. Now, I wanted to mention to you for this class, this technical communication book, the 8th edition, is the only book that we are going to be using in the class. We will use it extensively. You won't be able to get by without using the book. And you can buy it through the WCCC bookstore. They also sell a little card that comes along with it. And if you just wanted to buy the card alone, if you buy a new copy of the book, you'll get a card inside of it. It's called My Tech Home Lab. And if you don't have I mean, if you bought a used copy, it wouldn't have that. But if you just wanted to buy the MyTech Home Lab individually as a standalone thing, you could just use the online copy of the book. You can buy our textbook through Amazon, half.com, or wherever you like. We won't be using it actually until next week. This is a newer edition. They came out with an edition a couple years ago. But I wanted to mention at the very end of this, I actually always use this as a planning form, for planning for documents. And also in chapter 14 of our book, there's actually, if you create a web document, a web planning form. So that's one of the chapters that they've added to this book. And the book itself is really, really good. I've come to enjoy this book. I've used it through a number of different editions. But in particular, Chapter 4 on organizing information will be one of the more helpful chapters. And then Chapter 5 under document design. Those are the backbone of the book and really cover the top-down format, which is a redundant, repetitive approach to technical communication. And because sometimes people don't want to read the whole document from beginning to end, but they also tell you about how to format, how to do in-text emphasis, and so on. So, those chapters are good. Chapter 6 is on letters and memos, on emails. The one chapter that I wanted to refer to was Chapter 8 under written instructions, which we are going to be doing in this particular class. And in particular, starting on page 223 to 230, they give you some real good suggestions for writing your own instructions, and you will do some for this class. Pick something you're familiar with and you've done a number of times before. It could be work related, it could be school related, it could be something you're really good at, such as detailing a vehicle, making German chocolate cake. I had people that were really into various types of art or origami or ultimate frisbee. I've had people that have done quite a few different topics as far as that goes. Chapter 10 is formatting reports and proposals. Typically in your career, you're going to be doing shorter proposals, and those will be letter reports, memo reports. You can even do an email report. Most reports in work are 2 to 5 pages that you have to do. Longer reports that you do, formal reports, are typically done with a group of people. WCCC, we're going to be going through accreditation in 2014. And I am the co-chair of a group. We did Standard 1 and Standard 6. There's 14 standards like academic integrity, curriculum, the computer resources in the college, and so on. And you have groups of people that work on these, but then inevitably what happens is, we had 14 standards, and so we had 7 subgroups. And so they all submit, and then somebody, the vice president of academic affairs and student services, she works on them, and a few other people do, but there's one editor that makes sure that they're all consistent, and it's in style and format and so on. And Middle States makes us follow a particular format, so that's a difference between them. Here at WCCC, a couple of years ago, we worked on Title IX, which is gender equity in sports. We had to do a report to the National Junior College Association to show that women and men had equal opportunities here in sports. And in fact, we've added a couple of sports, particularly men's and women's soccer. I know we've just added men's basketball recently. We had bowling, cross country's only been here a couple of years. So those are typical of the types of reports. But like in chapter 10 on page 334, this study of Wildwood Creek, which is a good example. I have to move this over a little bit. This is an example of a formal report, to have a title page, a letter of memo transmittal, and table of contents and executive summary, and so on. So you'll see that it's much more detailed as far as that goes. So there's that. And then you'll see that they have like chapter 11 reports for information analysis, and many of you have done lab reports. But if you work as a petroleum engineer, for example, you'll have to do a site recommendation report. Or if you're working for a company and you have to pay a person, you have to figure out if they want their you want to use their get access to their natural gas. You have to pay them for their rights, and you have to check with local authorities as far as discharging water from the site into the creeks and so on. So those are types of reports that you may be doing at work. Proposals are in Chapter 12, and as I said, we do a proposal for the consumer report and also the written instructions. Chapter 13 is graphics, and I'm not really required to use a good number of graphics in this class, but I can tell you as far as using visuals in the consumer report, and of course in your written instructions, it helps because if you take your own pictures, like if you're detailing a car, for example, you have control over the images. I had somebody last summer that was doing written instructions on putting on a new front fender on an Acura RDX or something, or an Acura vehicle. But he used Google Images, and his pictures didn't match up. They didn't look right. If you take your own pictures as far as making lasagna or something, they look so much better, and they are so much more appealing. Clip art, some people use that, and that's not really worth much at all, to be honest with you. Web pages and web writing is on chapter 14, and then presentations, a job search, 15 and 16, and style and writing. That's one chapter that I did want to refer you to. Um, I'll talk about this more with discussion board 1 and discussion board 1A, but particularly on page 643, being accurate in writing, trimming down your sentences, and so on. That is something that you really need to think of. I had a student in this class that when he wrote written instructions, wrote sentences of 50 to 60 words. And I said, make these 10 to 15 word sentences, shorten them, start the sentences off with an action. He said, well, this is technical writing. And I said, technical writing is writing where you get people to understand how to do something, not confuse them. So he was able to make some changes, fortunately. So from this class, like I said, you'll become much, much better at using format and creating emphasis and in setting up your documents and making them more readable. I can tell you this. In the summertime, this summer, I have 6 online classes. I have 3 at the moment, but I will have 3 others when I add my late start classes. On some Fridays, I will get 130 to 150 emails. And the ones that are easier to read, the emails that have questions, if somebody says, I have these 3 questions, can you answer them? Boom, 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 I can read them. If somebody sends you an email and there's no subject line and it's all one big long paragraph, you wait to answer that email because it's just too hard to understand what they're asking. So format makes a big difference. Emphasis, as far as you want, if you say this is very important and you bold it, that makes it pop out more. Now, in this class, we used to use this Prentice Hall Reference Guide to Professional Writing. We don't use it anymore, but if you want to pick this book up, it's a great resource to have. It's available on Amazon.com, Half.com, very, very inexpensively. But it's actually nice to have a handbook right by your desk to refer to. I keep one at home. And for those of you that had college writing at WCCC, if you still have this one called the Brief Penguin Handbook by Lester Fagley, I actually like this one. This is a very well laid out, easy to understand, and sharply written book. So I would probably encourage you, if you have that one, to keep it and use it as well. I wanted to tell you 2 other things. If you have grammar, punctuation, or even documentation issues or questions, go to the website called owl.english.purdue.edu. That's a very good one. And one other site or one other book that I wanted to recommend is called HOW, which is called the Handbook for Office Workers. If you ever become a manager or a supervisor and you have to crank out a good deal of correspondence, you might want to get that book. And again, that's one that's available that you can get through Amazon or Half.com or Barnes and Noble or one of those places. So I have to stop this because I only had 15 minutes and I wanted to get to one more video to talk about the first few weeks of class. Thanks.